you're a lot older than I was then. A lot of people wouldn't believe it, but this was something else. When I was about 8 years old when we moved to Lone Kill Place, so about 8 years old. And my granddaddy lived up in Indiana. They always come down to the house 2 or 3 times. And he had this old muzzle loader rifle. Boy, I wanted to shoot that thing. I wanted to shoot it so bad. He wouldn't never let me shoot it. No, you're not big enough to shoot that gun. Well, one day they was down here and they all went off town and just left me over there. And boy, now's my chance. I am going to hunt. I'm going to take them to those guns. So I'd seen him load that thing before. He had his own powder horn and everything, and I took some powder down in that thing, but I couldn't find but one ball. But anyway, I put that ball in there, and I packed it all the way down in there good. Here I go. That rifle was longer than I was tall. I mean, it was a big, long rifle. So I walked down to the creek, and there's a big grove of gum trees down there next to the creek. So I walking down through there, I heard a squirrel barking up in the tree. So I walked up there close to where I could see him, and looked up in there. Sure enough, there's a squirrel up in that tree. And so I said, "Boy, now's my chance." And he got around up to where I could see him. And I pulled the hammer back on that thing, and I held it up there, and it was long, but I held it up there, and I held it on it, and just before I pulled the trigger, I heard a rattlesnake rattling. It was right down there, pretty close to my feet. I said, "Oh no, what am I going to do?" So I just got to shoot that squirrel, but if I'm afraid if I shoot that squirrel, that rattlesnake will back. So I didn't know what to do. So I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot that squirrel and I'm going to run. So I drove down on that squirrel again and I pulled the trigger, and man, that thing blowed up, that gun blowed up, knocked me back over here from away from that snake. And I got up, just looking around there, and I saw the squirrel laying down there. So I looked at that squirrel. And the snake was laying right down there pretty close to the squirrel. And what had happened is when that gun, it just exploded. That little forearm come off and hit that snake on the head and killed it. I said, well, this is my lucky day. So then I got to looking for the rest of the gun. I mean, it just come all pieces. I got to looking for it, and I couldn't find my ramrod nowhere. Looking around, and there's over across the creek. I noticed some movement over there, and so I said, well, I got to looking real close, and it was 2 of them there rock bass that was in the creek down there. When that rod come out of the gun, it went across the creek and speared 2 of them fishes, and it stuck up in a big old gum tree over on the other side of the creek, and had them 2 fish hanging there on that rod. Boy, that just tickled me to death. So I went down there at the old swinging bridge. We got a swinging bridge across the creek here. Across that swinging bridge, and I went over there to where the fish was hanging on that rod. Boy, that thing went up in the tree pretty good. And I got to twisting and pulling, and I finally pulled it out of that tree, and I put my fish on shoestring and stuff. Put it on shoestring, and I was just tickled to death. And then I looked over where I pulled that rod out of that gum tree, and there was honey running out of that hole where that rod went in that tree. So I hit a big tree, and honey was running out of there. And boy, I loved honey. So I got over there and I started eating that honey that had run out of that tree. And I just ate. My life got sick. I ate so much of that honey. Well, by that time the sun had done kind of good and warm, and it was real warm. So I sat down there on the south side of that big old gum tree, and it was good and warm in the sunshine, so I sat there and I just kind of dozed off. I just about went to sleep. But I heard some racket coming down through there, and I looked around, and this little rabbit coming down through there, and I said, well, I wish I had another shell for this gun. I'd keep me a rabbit. And so he come on right on down there by me, and I jumped up, and I was going to see if I could catch him, you know. So I jumped up, and I'd eat so much of that honey that a button popped off of my shirt and hit that little rabbit right in my eye, and just killed him. So I gathered up my rabbit and my 2 fish, and went over there and got my squirrel, and I pulled the rattlers off of that rattlesnake and put them in my pocket. And I just carried that gun back on up there to the house and put it up because I didn't want him to know that I had it. And so that just about winds up my first hunt trip. And I kind of hesitate to tell this to a lot of people because you'd just be surprised at the people that won't believe it.
I don't think you'd believe it either. I don't think you'd believe that trip, would you?
Now that is a bunch of hooey.
That's a whole lot of hooey.